admit, I got problems with this movie, Superman Returns, and largely because Bryan Singer dropped the X-Men franchise to go run off and do this movie. And you know what? I wasn't initially bothered by it at first, but it wasn't until I saw this that I was not okay with it, especially after what happened with X-Men Last Stand. This is supposed to be a love letter to the Richard Donner classic Superman, and if I'm not mistaken, a direct sequel to Superman 2, Electric Boogaloo. In this film, it's been 5 years that Clark Kent / Superman has been absent. He has been away. He has flown back to Krypton to go try and figure out exactly why people are poking around in his home world that used to be, and so on and so forth. I'm not even really entirely sure, because I won't lie, at this particular point in the opening credit sequence, I zoned out. But that was probably the longest opening credit sequence I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how you don't fall asleep on that. Superman crash lands back down to his home at Ma and Pa Kent's, and he just kind of reinserts himself back into life as we know it. I mean, I don't know, it's really weird because it's one of those movies that really ask you to not think too hard about the plot. Because it's at this point where any normal human being, even in 2006, would have said, well, how does he just show back up and nobody thinks anything of it? Better yet, how is it that Clark Kent and Superman aren't somehow tied together by all these people who work at the Daily Planet? Didn't anybody else think that this guy and this guy might be the same guy? Wait, let's throw logic out the window, because to be completely honest, Bryan Singer throws logic out of the fucking stratosphere. This film asks a lot of you. It asks that you be at least somewhat familiar with the setup of Superman from 1978 and then the follow-up sequel, Superman 2. It also just asks you to just kind of check your brain at the door for the most part. Another problem I have with the film is that it also asks you to seriously accept the fact that some characters are either A, gross caricatures of the characters that we're supposed to believe they are, and B, ask you to accept the fact that Lex Luthor got all his money by banging an old chick? I mean, for real, this woman looks like Finn Rizal from Willow. I'm sorry, it's just there's no way to get around it. This woman is Professor McGonagall from Harry Potter. I'm sorry, and I just couldn't buy it. I don't know, I just couldn't do it. In this film, Lex Luthor gets his millions, he gets his money, and he decides that, hey, look, I'm going to use this fortune because I'm going to go do some research on Superman. I'm going to figure out somehow, some way to get into the Fortress of Solitude and find the secret to help me become a better real estate shark. The problem I have with this film is that, honestly, it does ask a lot of you. And at this point, it's like, A, how did he know that this was a good idea? B, why the fuck does he care? And C, it honestly expects you to accept the fact that Lex Luthor is somehow anticipating Superman's return, but there's a scene in the movie where he totally is blown away by the fact that Superman has returned. Anyway, he goes to the fortress, finds out about these crystals, and gets some harebrained scheme to try to bring Krypton to Earth and make more land, because, I don't know, it was fucking dumb. This plot is the one plot I think is dumber in the Superman mythos than Nuclear Man. Meanwhile, while Clark Kent's trying to reinsert himself back into Metropolis life, trying to get back into the swing of being Superman, and realizing the world has moved on without him, for the most part. Really, it was only for like 5 seconds, because it seems like while the world's forgotten about Superman, he shows up for like 2 seconds, and the world's like, oh my god, Superman, can we totally ride your nutsack for a whole movie? Wasn't this film supposed to be about how, like, the world's kind of moved on from Superman? I don't know, I kind of felt like Superman versus the Elite handled that question a little bit better. The rest of the film pretty much lets you ride along on this not-so-roller coaster ride of a movie while we watch Superman and Lois Lane have this weird, oh, I've moved on, and oh, I want you back, and I don't know, it was dumb. It's just dumb, and honestly, this movie is dumb. I like the performances in it. I like Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. I even thought Brandon Routh was good as Clark Kent and Superman. I mean, basically, he went to the Christopher Reeve school of playing Superman and Clark Kent. There was no bones about it. Even the side characters were pretty cool. I thought Parker Posey was good as Kitty Kowalski. Cal Penn, who basically just sat there and smirked and mean-mugged at the camera the whole time. I honestly felt like he didn't even need to be in the movie. Why was he there? He was just taking up space. I thought Frank Langella's Perry White was pretty cool, and I forget the name of the kid that plays Jimmy Olsen, but basically he was just a Jimmy Olsen on steroids. We even got Cyclops in here to come in and play as the new guy, or the other guy. And of course they bring in a kid who, let's face facts, look, I'm gonna go ahead and call bullshit right here. This ain't even a spoiler. We know that this is Clark Kent's kid. We know that this is Superboy. Come on. Are you... really? I mean, it was telegraphed from the second he shows up. I mean, all the performances aside were pretty damn good. But Lois Lane, I'm sorry, Kate Bosworth, no. 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 Stop it. No. 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 You are not Lois Lane. This movie lacks action, it lacks direction, there's nothing going on. One moment there is something going on, it's kind of cool as an action scene, and then the next second it's just completely brought down by a film that wants to be reverential of the Richard Donner movies and Superman 2. Meanwhile, it's taking a Gorilla King Kong-sized shit on the entire franchise. This movie is boring. This movie is just not even worth your time. I don't even think the most devout Superman fan could honestly look you in the eye, or myself for that matter, and say, this movie is worth watching. This movie, for all of its merits and everything that it had going for it, I cannot give this film higher than a hot garbage award, because let's face the facts here, I'm being kind here. I was originally going to give this a suck shit through a straw. I had to be honest with myself. Is this film really that bad in comparison to some other movies like Ghost Rider and Daredevil? No, it is not. It's just boring. I felt the same way about this movie that I did about Green Lantern, only I felt Green Lantern was slightly more watchable. All bullshit aside, what did you think about Superman Returns? Keep it real with me like I keep it real with you, and let us know what's going on in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next round of content.